What I am about to tell you could very well change your entire life. It's something that I came across recently because of a video posted by a YouTuber called The Primogen, and it's basically a way of, actually let me take a step back. In your normal workflow, like me, I'm sure what you do is work on a branch and someone may ask you to switch to a different branch, maybe to test something. So you have two options, either stash your changes or commit your changes. I normally stash mine, but the problem is I have stashes that pile up because I forget to delete them, and it then becomes a bit of a mess, and it's just a bit of a pain in the ass. Plus the time you spend making the decision to either commit or stash, and actually doing the stash or commit itself. What if I told you that there was a way to have multiple branches checked out without having to worry about having to stash or commit if you want to switch branches? There's a method using a tool built into Git called Git Worktrees. Now, Git Worktrees are fucking sensational. So what I'm going to do is create a couple of issues on GitHub. Let's call it test issue 1. Okay, that's issue 1, right? And then we're going to have another issue, test issue 2. Okay, I need to create two pull requests, or create two branches, and then we need to go back to test issue 1, and create that branch. We now have two branches, test issue 1, test issue 2, and one I was doing for Code Wars. Forget about that. Now, let's go back to our terminal, and if I do a git pull, we should... let me do this. Can I do a git pull here? Yes, okay, so I have test issue 1 to color picker. I was messing about doing something else, forget about that. Let's go back to our main terminal. So if you do a git pull and you have all your git stuff set up, that's all fine. So let's do git branch -a. Okay, so these are all the branches we have. So we're going to work with these two. How to do this is basically, it's pretty simple. So you just type git worktree add, and then that's the command to add a work tree, right? So the next step is a personal choice one, where you want to have your work tree folder. Now you can have it outside of the repo that you're working with, or you can have it inside. So I've seen a method or a way of doing it where the guy used .worktree. So this creates a .worktree folder inside your main Git repo locally, and then what you can do is name it whatever you want. So I'm just going to call it test issue 1 because I'm not very imaginative and it's going to be easier to navigate to. And then what you need to do is point it to this branch. So I'm just going to copy this, post it here, and then what has happened, set up track remote. Okay, so if we do git worktree list, that should be there now. Now what we have is we have our main branch and then our test worktree branch, and it's in this worktrees folder. So you can see here this says main, right? So if I do ls-la, see worktree folder. So if I do cd.worktree and then ls and then cd test issue, and then if I do loads of these just to get this up, so you can see there we're actually in this test issue. So if I clear that, and then if I open this branch with VS Code and do some changes in here. So let's add a file, call it test.markdown.md, and then do title 1. This is just like a normal workflow, and then we can sync the changes. It'll ask me to connect to that. That's all fine, and it'll go push them up. So we have just checked out and created a work tree, and done work on this branch. But we also have main checked out. So let's say someone else wanted us to swap on to the test issue 2 branch. So if I do the same sort of deal again with the same command, so git worktree add .worktree folder, and then we'll call this test issue 2, and it's number 7, I believe. So yeah, it's test issue 2. You need to make sure you copy the exact issue name, because if you don't, it'll create a local issue, and that'll just cause you all fucking heaps of problems. So just make sure you get the right issue name when you're pointing it at this stage here. So just make sure you do this with the right issue, because as I say, it'll cause you a whole heap of problems. So that has gone and checked that out. So we do worktree folder ls and cd test issue 2. Oh shit, test issue 2. There we go, we're on test issue 2 branch. So this is basically allowing me to have multiple branches checked out and switch between them really quickly without having to stash or commit any changes. So I'm going to show you what you do whenever you're done with these branches now. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is tidy up our mess. So if we do git worktree list, we still have these checked out. So what we need to do is git worktree remove dot worktree test issue 1. Test issue 1 contains modified or untracked files. Oh dear god, I did not expect this. Test issue 1. What's left in here that's been a ball bag? Oh, the color picker. Okay. Well, that's good. At least it shows you a message. Whenever you made a change or you go to remove it, there's still stuff there. So if we go back and try to do that again, it should just remove it. So let's just check that it's been removed, and then we can remove the other one. Okay, so there we go. So let's go and remove the second one, and that's our mess tidied up. So what else? Oh yes, if you still have these work trees in the work tree folder, so test issue 2 here, if that was still there and I did that to remove it, it would fuck up everything. So do not do that while work trees are checked out, because if you go to try and go into that folder won't exist and you'll still have that branch checked out, so you won't be able to do any work on it. And the only way I found to get around it was just delete the whole fucking project and clone it out again. So that's one thing to note. So yeah, I just came across this recently, and yeah, handy dandy. Saves me having to do extra shit. Really handy. Hope someone else gets a benefit out of it as well. And if you thought that was useful, if you learned anything, or if you didn't like it, leave a like or a dislike. If you're feeling kind, subscribe. It's probably Christmas Eve when you're seeing this. So Merry Christmas, and I hope Santa is good to everyone.